is The Gerry Callahan Show.
What is June 14th? That is Flag Day, so you need to fly your American flag proudly, your pride flag proudly today. It is also Donald Trump's 78th birthday, so that's where we are, America. The 78-year-old guy is the young one, the spry candidate on the ballot. It's officially a 78-year-old versus an 81-year-old, and the 78-year-old he's not as sharp as he once was, but he's much, much sharper than the other guy. How did we get to this point, by the way? How did we get to the point where we have a 78-year-old versus an 81-year-old? Guys who would have been forced to retire if it were your mailman, if they were just some government bureaucrat, they would have been forced to retire years ago. And now they're running to see who will be the commander-in-chief, the leader of the free world. And if you're basing your vote on who's more with it, who's more lucid, there's simply no choice. To quote Steve Kerr, there's simply no choice. The president, if you missed it, was in Italy yesterday, and it went about as well as you could expect. This is a man who likes to tell you that the world is watching and they're worried about another Trump presidency, that he's the one who will make America more respected on the world stage. Well, this is the world stage. This is the G7. 7 world leaders met in Italy to discuss, war in Ukraine, war in Gaza, and other issues. And they had a little ceremony. A bunch of paratroopers jumped out over them and landed, and everything went fine. Nobody died, I don't think. And our president just wandered off. Yes, just wandered off to the point where the prime minister of Italy, Giorgia Meloni, had to do Dr. Jill's job because Dr. Jill wasn't there. She was back here talking about how Joe is sharper than ever. It is so uncomfortable to watch. Obviously, we mock and laugh at Joe Biden every day because he's in the throes of dementia. He's a senile, empty husk of a man. But when you're among other world leaders and you do this, show it again, here we go, and you do this, wander off to do what? We don't know. Was there a butterfly? Was there a squirrel? What was he doing here? Just wandering off. Now, his defenders, his campaign, including most of the mainstream media, point out that he was claim that he was walking over to congratulate one of the parachuters. But when you see the video, he did no such thing. The parachuter is packing his chute, picking it back up. He doesn't even look up. He doesn't acknowledge it. He wasn't congratulated by the leader of the free world. He just his mind wandered, and so did his body. I can't even. This is so embarrassing for our country that this man is our representative on the world stage, and he wants to do it for 4 more years. It's literally insane that he could be fit for office. He's not fit now, but the idea that at the age of 82, 83, 84, 85, that he could do that. He could go to a G7 and represent us and hold it together and not embarrass us again. This is just so uncomfortable. And the whole trip was an embarrassment. He did a press conference with Zelensky after promising another $50 billion to keep the war going and promising and allowing Zelensky and Ukraine to use our weapons to fire at Russian targets inside of Russia while Russian warships pull up, just cruise along the Florida coast on their way to Havana. A nuclear submarine, a Russian nuclear submarine, is in Havana right now, while this buffoon is wandering aimlessly around the Italian countryside. So he holds a press conference. I mean, this is bad. The visiting angels scene was bad. But To me, this was just as uncomfortable. He holds a press conference, and as we know, he's really bad at this. He tells the media, he makes a statement, tells the media, you get two questions for me, two questions for Zelensky. And one reporter, I couldn't believe I was watching this. He gets a question. The first question was from Bloomberg, I believe. No, Reuters. And then he calls on the Bloomberg guy. And Joe Biden literally has the card in his hand, if you didn't see this, where the name of the reporter's there and the question he's going to ask. So he's semi-prepared to get a scripted question from one of his campaign surrogates in the media. Somehow, some way, this guy went off script and asked a question that wasn't pre-approved by the government. He asks about Gaza. It's a good question. Obviously, it's a big story. It's an international issue. But Joe Biden wasn't happy that one of his guys in the mainstream media didn't follow the script. And Angry Joe wasn't happy. Watch this.
If you don't mind, I'd like to ask you about your discussions on the situation in Gaza here at the summit. You were asked just a short time ago about it after the skydiving demonstration. Can you give us your assessment of Hamas's response? And do you believe that they are trying to work towards a deal, or is this response working against a deal? And what is your message to allies, including those here at the G7, about what more, if anything, the U.S. can do to drive towards a peace agreement? Thank you.
I wish you guys would a little play by the rules a little bit. I'm here to talk about a critical situation in Ukraine. You asked me another subject. I'll be happy to answer it in detail later.
Wish you guys would play by the rules. The Bloomberg guy didn't follow the rules. The rules were to ask the question we gave you to ask, the question that's on the card in Joe Biden's hand. And the guy, this renegade from Bloomberg said, no, I really want to know about Gaza. This is unbelievable. Can you imagine? I know we ask this every day. Can you imagine Donald Trump saying that? You didn't play by the rules. We told you what to ask and you didn't follow. You didn't follow the rules. And then he rambled on incoherently about Gaza. It was just uncomfortable. Zelensky wouldn't even do that. Zelensky, who's a tyrant, who'll put you in jail if he's angry enough at your at your question. He didn't even care. He talked about it. He doesn't care. I mean, he spoke in Ukrainian and they interpreted it, but Joe Biden wasn't happy that one of his guys in the audience didn't play by the rules. Of course, he got a question, I believe it was earlier in the day, about Hunter. And he was asked, by the way, he was asked a shouted question about commuting Hunter's sentence because he said he wouldn't pardon him, but he didn't say he wouldn't commute it. And he said, no, he wouldn't commute it. So now we know he won't pardon or commute him, or so he says. I find this ridiculous that people in the media say, well, he said he wouldn't pardon him. He said he wouldn't commit. What does that matter? The guy lies every day about everything. We've gone over it. Chapter and verse. He lies like he's breathing. He lies instinctively. What does it matter if he said he's not going to pardon him or commute the sentence? Of course he's going to pardon him or commute it, whatever. He's going to wait till after the election, and they're going to delay the cases, tax case and the gun case, until November, and then he'll pardon him. And they'll say, but you said you wouldn't pardon him. And he'll say, so what? What does that matter? This is so absurd that there's even a debate about who is fit to hold the office for the next 4 years. But he's asked about Hunter, and listen to this answer. To me, I understand. I've watched plenty of MSNBC and CNN and read, and I understand that the narrative has been set and the emails have gone out. The email chain is out there. Talk about what a loving father he is. And that's fine. I'll just go. I'll agree with you. He's a loving father. He loves his wayward son. But there's never even a word about condemnation, about accepting responsibility. I mean, his son is just the worst guy in the world. We've seen it. We know it. We've heard it. And all he does is talk about what a wonderful guy, what a wonderful father and son Hunter Biden is. We've seen what kind of guy Hunter is. I mean, you know, he's a big problem for you. And yet he can't stop talking about how proud he is of what? Listen to this.
Regarding the family, I'm extremely proud of my son, Hunter. He has overcome an addiction. He's one of the brightest, most decent men I know. And I am satisfied that I'm not going to do anything. I said I abide by the jury decision, and I will do that, and I will not pardon him.
President Zelensky, a number of leaders here in Italy.
One of the most decent men he knows. Just a quick rundown. Hunter doesn't pay child support to either of his baby mamas. He raided his daughter's college fund to buy drugs and hookers. He didn't acknowledge his youngest daughter, Navy. We know that. He slept with his dead brother's wife. And he got her hooked on crack. He slept with his dead brother's wife's sister. He called his mother the C word. That's one of the most decent men Joe Biden knows. I guess that says a lot about the people Joe Biden knows. One of the most decent men. He'd be better off saying, that's personal, that's private. I don't want to talk about it. But at what point do you say, you know, he did some bad things, and I don't condone that, and I'm not happy with that, and now he has to pay a price. I mean, has he ever shown tough love to Hunter in 54 years? We know Hunter's gotten away with everything for decades. We've gone over it. You know, Joe got him into the Navy, got a special waiver so he could join the Navy at the age of 40. He got kicked out like in the first day for testing positive for cocaine. He got caught with coke in the 90s, no charge. I mean, he has gotten away with everything, and he will continue to get away with it if Joe has any say, and he does. He will be pardoned. His sentence will be commuted. It doesn't matter what Joe Biden says. It's irrelevant. But you can't ask if he's fit for office. I mean, we can see it. We know he's not. But Jill Biden decided to address this yesterday here at home. Do we have Dr. Jill talking about this? This is unbelievable. Here's what she wants you to think. His age is not a problem. In fact, it's an advantage. It's a good thing that the president has dementia. Listen to her.
This election is most certainly not about age. Joe and that other guy are essentially the same age. Let's not be fooled. Joe isn't one of the most effective presidents of our lives in spite of his age, but because of it.
Bringing attention to them being the same age is not a good strategy.
I mean, we know, and you know, there are people, lots of people. Trump's take on this is age is not the issue because he can't make just age, an issue because he's old too. But we see the both of them every day. We see Trump's capable of doing a rally, of holding a press conference. We saw Trump yesterday with leaders. He met with all the congressional leaders, and they had a great time. They gave him a cake and sang happy birthday to him, many of whom don't like Trump, didn't support Trump. Mitch McConnell hasn't spoken to Trump in 3.5 years. He's on board. They all got together and a big show of unity, which is bad news for Democrats because one of their angles on this, one of the narratives is that the Republicans are divided. Trump's divisive. Lots of these guys hate him. Well, it didn't look that way yesterday. They're on board, and they're on board for one simple reason. We can't have 4 more years of this dementia patient who was wandering around the Italian countryside yesterday for all the world to see. It was embarrassing for us. Every day is embarrassing for us. It's uncomfortable to watch, and everybody knows it. And it's not going to be easy for Joe Scarborough or Mika or Rachel Maddow for the next 5 months because they have to lie to you. They have to tell you that Donald Trump is a monster and a tyrant. And as he awaits his jail sentence, he's going to put people in jail. AOC says he might put her in jail. Rachel Maddow said Donald Trump might put her in a camp. What kind of camp exactly? Do we have these camps already set up? Or is that, I mean, like a concentration camp? These are their elite. These are the most prominent voices, the most prominent people in the Democrat Party. There's not a lot of people with more influence than AOC. Do we have AOC with Kara Swisher? Look at her. Look at that picture. AOC told Kara Swisher that Trump might put her in jail. I don't know if there was a follow-up, but if you're Kara Swisher, don't you say, for what? What's he going to put you in jail for? Have you committed crimes? Have you falsified business records? Why is he going to put you in jail? And Rachel Maddow said he might put her, let me get that quote. Rachel Maddow says he might put her in a camp. What the hell? What kind of camp? Like a day camp? Like a sleepaway camp? What kind of camp? I mean, she's taken very seriously. This is not Keith Olbermann, Rachel Maddow. She's an actual leader, a thought leader, a prominent personality. And she tells Oliver Darcy on CNN that he might put her in a camp. Like, maybe he'll put her in one of those cages, the cages that Obama set up at the border for illegal alien children who are separated cruelly from their parents. We have Rachel talking about that. This is my favorite Rachel moment of all time. Rachel Maddow reading a news story about kids in cages, kids whose parents committed crimes, just like Americans, when they commit crimes and you put them in jail, they're separated from their children. So illegal aliens who commit crimes, beginning with crossing the border illegally, they don't get to stay with their children, at least not till they prove that they're actual children and they're not children being trafficked over the border. Watch Rachel during the Trump administration talk about kids in cages. Go ahead.
Trump administration officials have been sending babies and other young children. Oh, hold on. To at least 3 put up the graphic of this. Thank you. Do we have it? No. 3 tender age shelters in South Texas. Lawyers and medical providers just I think I'm going to have to hand this off. Yeah.
This is so unbelievable. They are not news anchors. She's just like Scarborough and Mika. She's a performer. She's pretending to cry because Trump separated families at the border. The same thing Obama did, the same thing Biden did. Let me ask Rachel. Hundreds of thousands of people have died from fentanyl poisoning since Joe Biden opened the border. Thousands of children have been trafficked over the border. Thousands kids have been raped. We know that in their journey here. Now we have illegal aliens, and we'll get to this, raping kids in this country. Has that ever made her cry? I don't know. I don't watch her every week. She works 1 day a week for $30 million a year. And I guess for the Democrats, it's worth it because she puts on a performance. But this is what they do every day. They put on a performance. They don't really have a case. They don't really believe what they're saying. Do you think she's really crying, reading a news story? She doesn't even have video. It's just a news story in front of her. She's reading a piece of paper and crying because Trump put kids in cages, which were built by Barack Obama, which is the policy. Your mother, if an adult drives drunk or commits a crime in America, they don't get to bring their child to jail with them, just like criminals at the border. But that makes her cry. I might have to hand this off. What a clown. She thinks she's going to a concentration camp. And they think AOC and Rachel Maddow and Joe Scott, they think that's an effective argument against Trump. First of all, nobody believes it. I mean, it's absurd. But the idea that you're going to put your political opponent in jail, it hasn't happened a lot in this country. It's happening now. It's happening right now. The guy they're talking about, he's going to jail in less than a month. People around him, Peter Navarro is in jail. Steve Bannon is headed to jail. For what, you ask? For defying a congressional subpoena, which is exactly what Merrick Garland is doing right now, defying a congressional subpoena. Why? To protect Joe Biden. He has an audio tape, hours and hours. I believe it's 5 hours of Joe Biden stammering and stumbling and lying and forgetting when he was vice president and forgetting when his son died and talking about a guy who lost a testicle in a industrial accident and making car noises. That's there. It's in a secure location in DC. And the attorney general, who claims under oath every time he testifies that he's not a politician, that he does his job without fear or favor, that he's impartial. The lead law enforcement agent in our country is hiding an audio tape, which he has no right to do because it will embarrass the president. That guy says he's not political. I think they should charge him with perjury for that, for saying that under oath. But he's willing to go to jail to protect, well, he won't because he controls the DOJ and the DOJ is an arm of the Biden campaign. That guy claims he's impartial while hiding an audio tape from the public and with no justification. There is no legal justification. That guy wants you to believe you can't hear this because he knows it'll be devastating. We all know it'll be devastating. Can you imagine if the Trump campaign gets a hold of the audio tape of Joe Biden making car noises, talking about Jill Biden and how good she looks in a bikini? That's on it. At least we think it is. They probably altered the transcript to soften the blow. That's going to happen too. If we ever get to hear the audio tape, we're going to see that they altered the transcript. But that's the take from the left. If you elect Donald Trump, he'll put AOC in jail. You think that's going to? You think it's going to deter a lot of people from voting for Trump? It was a good day for Trump. He's 78. He's no kid, but he's getting along. They came up with another hoax. They said he claimed that Milwaukee was a horrible place. It's another lie. It's all they got. And Mika showed up this morning with a shirt that says Milwaukee, and they're running with it. They just wait for the Biden campaign to hand them another hoax, and they run with it. Trump said Milwaukee's horrible. And so they all say, oh, he said, we love Milwaukee. He hates Milwaukee. He didn't say that. He said crime is horrible. Everybody in the meeting said, he said crime is horrible in Milwaukee, and it is. It's the third most violent city in America. It's a problem. I don't think Trump has to worry about it because he'll be in jail when all the Republicans gather in Milwaukee in a few weeks. But what's that? What are you showing me, Ironhead? What was that last video? Was it the?
Oh no, it was after you said Joe Biden looks good in a bikini. I just put her up in the fishnets.
Imagine that sound comes out of him forgetting what year he was vice president, forgetting when his son died. Oh, that, she might look okay in a bikini. I'll give her that. She looks better than Miss Alabama.
No one's beating Nancy Pelosi though in a bathing suit.
All right, we got so much to get to on this Friday, on this Flag Day. The governor of Massachusetts, we now know what upsets her, what disgusts her. She will explain that detectives, state police detectives who lie under oath, that really upsets the governor. Illegal aliens raping kids in the hotels that she set up, not so much. That's not a big problem for her. And we also got Caitlin Clark, again, handling things beautifully. The media is trying their best to get her on board with the WNBA agenda. She is not playing along. She's saying and doing all the right things. Oh, and great news. Leah Thomas, her Olympic dreams have been dashed. Isn't that a shame? I mean, I think I think the most important thing is his feelings. And he's not going to get to go to the Olympics in Paris and beat up on girls, his favorite thing to do. But as the Babylon Bee proposed, maybe they should just let him go hang out naked in the locker room, because that's what he really wants to do. That's what he loves to do. That's his passion. And he's not going to be able to do it. Too bad. Poor Leah. We'll get to that and more, but first.
Excuse me.
Neil says the good doctor should be arrested for child elder abuse. Yes, she should be. She is just vile. You want your husband to do that for 4 more years? Doesn't every couple, elderly couple, have a plan what to do in retirement? Spend time with the grandkids, whatever, golf, fish, whatever you have planned for retirement. She doesn't care. She knows he won't last 4 years. She knows he won't make it. Everyone knows he won't make it to 86. It defies the actuarial tables. The average age of a man in this country is 76. And he's already 5 years older than that. And he wants to have the toughest job for 4 more years. It's absurd. Oh, this is a good one. Trump came out with a quickie ad, the Trump campaign. And all it is, there's no Trump in this ad, no Trump, just Joe Biden. This is a really smart move. Just play Biden. Just let Biden talk. Just let him do his thing. Watch this.
We hold these truths to be self-evident. All men and women created by you know the thing.
America is a nation that can be defined in a single word. I was in the foothills of the Himalayas with Xi Jinping.
She knows so long as she's denied, her freedom can never be secured. We'll never forget lying around, and that's him lying around, actually.
It is noteworthy that the percentage of women who register to vote and cast a ballot is consistently higher than the percentage of the men who do so. End of quote. Repeat the line.
I'll lead an effective strategy to mobilize true international effort to pressure.
End of quote. Repeat the line. Check this poll out. This is from the New York Post today. Half of American voters expect President Biden to once again forget where he is during the crucial upcoming presidential debates, with more than a third expecting to see him wander off stage. This is a real poll by JL Partners. A staggering 70% expect the gaffe-prone 81-year-old to mess up his words during the debate, while 40% think the oldest ever president is so frail he'll struggle to even get to his feet. Biden debate rival Donald Trump will easily win the debate, according to the poll, with an overwhelming 90% of Republicans confident he'll win. Most worrying, 49% expect Biden to forget where he is, and 41% expect him to walk off the stage in the wrong direction. Can you bet on this, Ironhead? You were just in Vegas. Can you put a bet down? Will he walk off the stage in the wrong direction? See, that's
pretty good.
Obviously concerning, but I think it's what Biden needs, what the Biden camp needs. They need the lowest possible expectations. So if most Americans think he won't make it through the debate, that means if he makes it through the debate, they can declare victory. Joe Scarborough the next morning will be saying he was amazing. They will pump him full of Adderall. He'll get through the debate with the help of Jake Tapper, and then they will declare victory. That's what you're going to see on June 27th, which is only 13 days away. That guy wandering around Italy is going to debate Donald Trump in 13 days. Somebody said, I think it was Dana Perino, she said he shouldn't have gone to the G7 because of this, and sent Kamala Harris and just hunkered down and prepare for the debate. He needs 2 weeks to get ready to debate Donald Trump. And it will be, 3-on-1. It'll be Jake Tapper, Dana Bash, and Joe Biden against Trump. But even with that kind of help, even if Jill is in the front row, even if they get to shut off Trump's mic, it's hard to imagine him not stumbling and bumbling his way through the first debate. All right, let's get to Governor Healy. Massachusetts Governor Maura Healy is a hardcore leftist Democrat Biden supporter. She believes in open borders. She believes in the sanctuary state, not city, state, the whole state sanctuary. We have a right to shelter law. Any illegal alien who comes here gets a hotel, gets free food, free phone, free Uber rides, gets culturally sensitive meals, gets free same-day dry cleaning. This is one of the best places to be if you're an illegal alien, which is why they're flocking here. If the hotel doesn't have a room, they get to live at Logan Airport. Yes, Logan Airport has an entire terminal filled with illegal aliens. And they're all waiting to find the next hotel that's available. But that doesn't bother Maura Healy. No, the fact that that crime is rampant at these hotels, that they're calling 911 like every night for something, that doesn't bother her. What does bother her? The Karen Reed trial. She finally chimed in on the Karen Reed trial, which is a huge scandal, and it's going to get bigger, as we know. We've talked to Turtle Boy about this. He's in court right now. We'll be watching his report, his live stream at the end of the day, which are great. Turtle Boy's so good on this. And I think he's right. I mean, let's be honest. The defense hasn't even started yet in the Karen Reed trial. It feels like the whole thing has been defense strategy, defense witnesses. No, these are prosecution witnesses. These lying, corrupt cops, investigators. These are family members, Alberts, McCabe's. These are prosecution witnesses. I said this 2 weeks ago. I can't believe they're still going forward with this trial. I mean, just on the simple idea that reasonable doubt means they must vote to acquit.
Mm-hmm.
Does anyone not have reasonable doubt at this point? It's going to be, what's going to happen? It's going to end. They're going to acquit her. And then we're all just going to wait for the indictments, for the arrests. And then these people who have shown to be real scum are just going to start turning on each other. And then the real drama begins. Karen Reed, she'll be done. She'll be acquitted. She can leave. She can go on with her life. And then these people, these cops, investigators who've been lying under oath, they're going to have to turn on each other, right? That's going to be wild. This TV movie or this series, Netflix series, starring somebody as Turtle Boy is going to be wild. But as you know, the cops, state troopers have been caught and beyond dishonest and corrupt. Are these not the dumbest cops? They are police investigators, and they're texting incriminating stuff every day. Don't they, when they do investigations, don't they seize people's phones and computers? Don't they use it as evidence? Don't they know that when you say things like calling the defendant the C word, don't they know that might be used in court? I mean, if you're just some dummy, some drunk from Canton, and God, there are a lot of drunks from Canton, and you do it, that's one thing. If you're Jennifer McCabe and you search how long to die in the cold, I mean, it's stupid, but you're just a dumb, drunk civilian. If you're a cop and you're texting things about the case, about the defendant, it never crosses your mind that might come up in court.
Well,
that's what blows my mind.
The craziest thing about this is at first they thought it was a beating and he was on this property and they never looked inside when they're doing the investigation.
Yes, they asked lead investigator Michael Proctor about why he never went inside. He defended why he found a dead body on the lawn in the snow and never went inside. The defense asked him, the guy had no winter clothes, no winter coat, and you never thought he might have come out of that house? And he said, yes, He said that was reasonable to assume he never went in or came out of the house.
Yeah.
It's just one lie after another. Here's from CBS News in Boston. Governor Healy weighed in on the Karen Reed trial Thursday, saying she's disgusted by text messages Massachusetts State Trooper Michael Proctor sent while acting as the lead investigator in the murder case. Proctor this week read a series of what he described as regrettable messages he sent friends, family, and state police coworkers. In the text, he used multiple expletives to describe Reed, calling her a whack job, joked about her medical condition, and at one point suggested searching her phone for nude photos. Quote, "It's terrible," says Healy. I mean, anybody looks at that, it's completely unprofessional. Beyond that, it's criminal. But that really upset her. Is this the report from CBS?
This is the NBC one, but it's got
NBC.
Yeah.
I mean, do people still think they have a chance to convict her? That's what I'd like to know. I mean, I was speaking to somebody from Canton yesterday who's really immersed in this case. And she went to school with Michael Proctor. She knows him. And the only thing she had as a defense was that, can you really get this many people involved in a cover-up? I mean, sure looks that way. I mean, I'm sure it's not easy, but they're all friends. They're all drinking buddies. If that's the best they got, that a cover-up, that a conspiracy is hard to organize when you have this many people, I'm sorry, that's not good enough. It appears, yes, but it wasn't a successful cover-up. It's not a successful conspiracy. They tried, they failed. That's why you don't see a lot of cover-ups involving this many people, because it's hard to do. This many stupid, drunken people, they screw up. And that's what happened here. They screwed up. I mean, I wish there was some suspense, some mystery. We're left to just marvel at the absolute idiocy and the dishonesty of these people. That's where we are. Just watch this case just every day just implode on these scummy, dirty people who are framing a woman for this murder. And I know Turtle Boy has made the case for a year now that it's a cover-up, but man, he appears to be right about everything. Let's watch the report from NBC.
New reaction to those stunning text messages from the lead investigator in the Karen Reed case. Everyone from criminal defense attorneys to the governor weighing in on the exchanges Trooper Proctor admitted were unprofessional and regrettable. NBC 10 investigator Ryan Kath is here to look at the possible fallout that could affect other criminal cases. Ryan.
They were extraordinary moments in court. A law enforcement officer reading his unfiltered remarks that he sent about the case to his wife, his sister, and his high school friends. Those personal text messages only come into light because of the rare involvement of the federal government and its investigation into how the case was handled.
Trooper Proctor, you never thought when you were engaged with these other 8 individuals that this particular set of chats would ever become public, did you?
No, I do not. Trooper Michael Proctor admitted he never thought a jury or the public would hear private text exchanges about how he described defendant Karen Reed.
That was the word you used, a figure of speech, right?
Correct.
A girl who herself, right?
Correct.
And then her, correct?
Correct. The shocking messages among the thousands of pages of documents turned over by the U.S. Attorney's Office as part of its rare probe into the handling of the murder case. On Thursday, Governor Healy reacting to what she heard.
It's terrible. I think anybody looks at that. I mean, it's completely unprofessional. It does harm, frankly, to the dignity and the integrity of the work of men and women across the state police and law enforcement. So as a former attorney general and as governor, I am disgusted by that.
Now
She's disgusted by that. Let's tell you what happened on the same day. On the same day that this case exposed a number of disgusting texts about these drunks, these booze hounds in Canton. Do we have the video of Maura Healey, Liz Warren, and Jennifer Granholm, a cabinet member, let's watch this. I guess it's some promotional thing for small business. Small business, by the way, that all three of these people supported shutting down during COVID. They all wanted to shut down businesses like this and put many of them out of business. This brewery they're at survived, but many thousands didn't because these tyrants shut them down. But now they're celebrating small businesses like this this beer distillery. And watch this, and then I'll tell you where it is. Go ahead.
Cheers to a bright, clean energy future for Massachusetts. Cheers to lowering energy costs.
Cheers to great new clean energy jobs for Massachusetts workers.
Cheers to investing in America and to beer.
So these three awfuls, these affluent white females, liberals, are holding up beers, doing a toast, chugging beers in Canton. They're in Canton, place which has gained a reputation for excess imbibing. That's one takeaway in this case. Everybody's drunk. Everybody's drunk. So when some of them say they don't remember on the stand, I kind of understand because they're all wasted. And our governor is celebrating beer. Here's to beer in Canton with Jennifer Granholm and Liz Warren, who we know loves beer. All right, we got to get to what doesn't seem to bother Maura Healey, our governor. And I'm just going to say, personally, I find this a lot more offensive than naughty texts from state troopers. We'll get to that more, but first.
Excuse me.
He froze out. Yeah. One second. Good.
Good. Turtle Boy can't join us. He's busy. You ready?
Yep.
We all share Maura Healey's disgust with those text messages from the state troopers and others in that case. Obviously, those are reprehensible and regrettable and everything else. But she hasn't said much about this, the crime wave from the illegal aliens that she is bringing to the state, putting up in hotels. An amazing story yesterday from the Maine Wire. I want you to read the whole thing. You really have to. I don't have time to read it. It's long and it is so disturbing. I wonder where the rest of the media is. I wonder why the Boston Globe hasn't written this story. I think I know, but check this out. I'll just read. I mean, the whole thing is just so incredible and disturbing. A Holiday Inn in Marlborough, Mass. is becoming a hotbed. Oh, by the way, I want to mention Seamus Othat from the Maine Wire writes this, and it's incredible. A Holiday Inn in Marlborough has become a hotbed of domestic abuse and child sexual assault since it became part of the state's taxpayer-funded migrant shelter program, which pays hotels to house immigrants. According to documents obtained by the Maine Wire, taxpayers were paying for the Holiday Inn at 265 Lakeside Ave to house illegal immigrants. To house illegal immigrant Ronald Joseph, who raped his 14-year-old daughter numerous times. As a result of the rapes, the 14-year-old migrant girl became pregnant. In an interview with Mass officials, the young girl said Joseph raped her multiple times on the journey to the U.S., both before and after crossing the U.S.-Mexico border. The Department of Children and Families then conducted an interview with the victim, who reported her father had sex with her multiple times on the journey, and then they made the decision to remove the victim from her father's custody on an emergency basis. Instead of being arrested for the crimes and prosecuted, Joseph lost custody of his daughter and was given a taxpayer-funded Lyft ride to another shelter. Joseph was transferred to Queen Street Shelter in Worcester, which also houses women. That shelter is also paid for by taxpayers, and residents receive full slate of benefits while staying there. That's the first couple of paragraphs. The story goes on from there, describing various sexual assaults at various migrant shelters across the state. In late April, a resident of the Marlborough Hotel, 29-year-old Vladimir Rodin, was arrested after he was accused of sexually abusing a 16-year-old resident of the shelter and allegedly abusing another victim whose age has not been revealed. A few days, he was arrested. I guess that's progress. That's two. It goes on and on. We've been hearing about this. There's been whispers about all the sexual assaults at these shelters, and now somebody is digging in and doing an incredible job of reporting this. Nothing from Governor Healey, nothing from Liz Warren, Ayanna Pressley. You know, these champions of women. I'm telling you, it goes on. There's another one. A domestic abuse incident. 45-year-old Sibian Baptiste attacked his wife in the shelter. The cops can't even keep up with the 911 calls. Since 2023, one hotel, the Marlborough Hotel, emergency services has responded to 99 911 calls in 2023, 56 so far this year, and it's June. They're there almost every night for 911 calls, many of which are sexual assaults. That's going on in these Healey hotels. And these champions of women, you know, these good liberals, Ayanna Pressley, Liz Warren, Ed Markey, Maura Healey, have nothing to say. They don't care about migrant children. Has Rachel Maddow cried about this? Have you noticed? I don't think so. It doesn't matter, because they only cry, they only act, they only put on performances if it helps Biden, hurts Trump. This is what you get when you vote for Joe Biden and Maura Healey. And you know what? They're going to vote for Joe Biden and Maura Healey again. That's not even a question. Joe Biden won, 63% of the vote in Massachusetts. Maybe it'll slip a little. Maybe it'll be 60 or 61. But the people whose neighborhoods are being destroyed, who live among these, whose children go to school with the girls being abused, they will vote for Joe Biden and Maura Healey. It's just obscene that nobody seems to care that these little girls are being raped, sometimes by their own fathers, and it's not a big deal. You send a text. That's making fun of calling a Karen Reed a whack job, and man, Maura Healey, she'll speak out. She'll have a big problem with that. But this, not a word. Has she been asked about it? Probably not. Has the Globe, has BZ and CBS and NBC reported this? No, it took the main wire to dig in on this. This should be a huge scandal, but it's not, because this is the Biden policy. The Biden policy is put these people in Logan Airport, put them in hotels, spend more than $1 billion a year, because someday, some way, they will vote Democrat. That's what's really important. All right, speaking of voting for Joe Biden, I was going to get to Steve Kerr. I hate these people so much, these fabulously wealthy. Steve Kerr endorsed Joe Biden. He said it's a simple choice, no choice. You got to vote for Joe Biden. Steve Kerr probably has made $200 million in his playing and coaching career. Steve Kerr probably makes $10, $12 million a year, a good San Francisco liberal. And he says there's no choice. Now I ask you, does Steve Kerr or any Hollywood Biden supporter, any of the women on The View, does Bruce Springsteen, do they buy groceries? Do they fill up their tank? Do their kids go to schools filled with illegal aliens? I doubt it. So they have a luxury of supporting Joe Biden and talking about luxury issues, like climate change or gun control, which I love this one. Steve Kerr is voting for Joe Biden because of gun control. Joe Biden has been in the White House for 11 and a half of the last 15 and a half years and done nothing. And we're supposed to think if we vote for Joe Biden, he'll get guns off the street. He can't even get guns away from his own son, but he'll get guns off the street. So Steve Kerr says you must support him. Don't look at all those illegal aliens who overrun your state. Don't look at the prices. Don't look at the economy, inflation. Joe Biden's going to get guns off the street. Is this Kerr? No, we don't have to do Kerr. I don't have time. I want to do Caitlin Clark before we go here. She's in the eye of the storm, man. Two things happened yesterday. One, we learned the WNBA is scheduled to lose $50 million this year. $50 million. Who makes up for that deficit? The NBA. The NBA subsidizes the WNBA, which loses millions every year. It has never made a profit. It's been around since 1996. Never made a profit. The girl you're looking at, she comes along, changes everything. They calculated she's responsible for a 33% increase in the WNBA audience, and they hate her for it. They don't want her on the Olympic team. They've taken cheap shots at her. They've tried to hurt her. The woman who has single-handedly turned things around and maybe made the WNBA relevant for once. But listen, to the media doesn't like her either. The ESPN, they can't stand her because she's white and heterosexual and from the Midwest and probably a Christian and maybe even a conservative. We don't know. She doesn't go there. But listen to the question. This reporter, quote unquote, asks her yesterday. Go ahead.
Caitlin, I know you mentioned that, you want to focus straight on basketball. You definitely respect that. But just to ask you directly, when people use your name for racism, misogyny, whatever, what is your response to that specifically?
Yeah, I think it's disappointing. I think, everybody in our world, deserves the same amount of respect. The women on our league deserve the same amount of respect. So people should not be using my name to push those agendas. It's disappointing. You know, it's not acceptable. But yeah, I mean, this league is the league I grew up admiring and wanting to be a part of. Like, some of the women in this league were my biggest idols and role models growing up and helped me want to achieve this moment right here that I get to play in every single night. So just treating every single woman in this league with the same amount of respect, I think is just a basic human thing that everybody should do. Like, you know, just be a kind person and treat them, you know, how you would want to be treated. And I think it's, you know, very simple.
Oh, they hate her. She's all class. But you know what? She shouldn't have even answered the question. To quote the reporter, people are using you for racism and misogyny. Who's doing that? Who's using her for racism and misogyny? She should have just said, you know, I don't accept the premise of your question. You're trying to trap me. You're trying to use me to advance your agenda. She should have said, who's using me for racism and misogyny? Who the hell are you?
Yeah, the only thing they've really been talking about is her being bullied on the court, mostly.
Right. And she, you know, she's great. She's just staying above it all, saying all the right things. She hasn't said one thing. Her coach threw her under the bus, essentially, when she said, you woke a monster. You woke a monster. I don't even know what that means. You woke a monster. She's already awake. She's already playing her ass off, doing her best. She can only do so much. Your team stinks. Her coach stinks. But the idea that she's supposed to talk about being used for misogyny and racism, who's doing that? She said, who are you talking about? Who's using me for racism? You clown. Oh, God, we just don't hate these people enough. All right. We had so much more here, but we will leave it there for this Friday, Flag Day, Donald Trump Day. You want to sing happy birthday? That was a little weird when all the congressional leaders sang happy birthday to Trump. And you know what he did, which most people don't do? He cut himself a big piece of cake and ate it. That was so Trumpian. But all right, don't forget, it's Father's Day. The perfect gift, Omaha Steaks. Get Dad Omaha Steaks. Maybe it's a little late to get it, but you can tell him it's on the way. He will love it. There's not a guy in the world who's gotten the Omaha Steaks, the package for $99 and doesn't love it. $99. That's not too much for Dad.
89
Steaks,
with code word
burgers.
Jerry.
Oh, that's true. Get the discount. Code word Jerry with a G. Get the discount. Get Dad some steaks, some burgers, some hot dogs. He will absolutely love it. That's what everyone should do for Dad. Omaha Steaks. But all right, did you do it, Ironhead? Did you get what's Dad's name again?
Marty.
Marty. I should remember Marty. Get Marty some Omaha Steaks. And
They're on
use
the way.
use code word Jerry. Did you come home from Vegas with any money?
No, I didn't really go there with much either, though, to be fair.
So you only bet what you could afford?
Yeah, you know, little things. And the bet we were talking about, I didn't end up getting down to the sports book in time, and thank God, because
So you owe me $10. I told you to put $5 on the Celtics.
Yeah, so I didn't. Nothing happened.
Wait, so you didn't put my bet in?
It would have lost. See what happened? Some big man upstairs was looking out for us because it was supposed to be a parlay with the money line and the over, and the Celtics
Oh, whatever. Did you bet on the U.S. Open?
No, no, I didn't. I can never bet on that one. It's you never know.
The U.S. Open. I mean, I love it, but the Masters is better. U.S. Open is so hard. It looks so frustrating. And I know some people like to watch the players struggle and suffer, but it's just seems at times unfair. And it's great theater. But
It's my third favorite major.
It's so hard. It's so difficult watching the balls just roll off the greens and watching putts go by 10 feet. What's Tiger right now? He's playing this afternoon.
Yeah, he's at
plus 4. The cut is projected +3, so he's right on the cut line. And I'm like you. I'm gonna root for Rory. I want Rory to be involved on Sunday. That's all. I just find him just fascinating to watch. He's back with his wife, by the way. They called off the divorce. He's great. All right, time to watch golf. We will leave it there on this Friday. Thanks for listening. Thanks for chatting. Got a lot of comments here. Any good ones? I didn't even look, but we'll do it next time. I promise. But thanks, Ironhead. Happy Father's Day. I'm Jerry Callahan. This is The Callahan Show.